April 11th. Final warning. Archangel Michael is commanding you to stop ignoring these messages. This is your last chance to fix the mistake you made. My beloved child, pause for a moment and listen with your heart. For this is not a coincidence. You did not stumble upon this message by chance. Today carries a sacred urgency, and April 11th has been marked in the spiritual realm as a day of awakening. The final warning echoes through the heavens, and Archangel Michael stands as a divine messenger, commanding you to stop ignoring the signs that have been placed before you. This is not merely another message. It is a once-in-a-lifetime call that holds the power to change your destiny forever. Something within your spirit has been stirring, hasn't it? A quiet whisper that refuses to fade. You have felt it in the stillness of the night, in the unease that lingers in your thoughts, and in the moments when your heart senses that something is not right. These are not coincidences. They are signals sent from above, urging you to open your eyes before it is too late. For too long, you have brushed aside the nudges of divine guidance. You told yourself you were imagining things. You convinced yourself that there would always be more time. But heaven does not repeat its warnings endlessly. When Archangel Michael speaks, his voice carries authority, clarity, and truth. And today, his command is clear: stop ignoring these messages. You may be wondering, what mistake have I made? Deep within your soul, you already know the answer. It is the decision you tried to justify, the opportunity you neglected, the voice you silenced when you chose fear over faith. Perhaps it was a path you pursued despite countless warnings, or a calling you abandoned because doubt clouded your vision. Whatever it may be, the heavens have seen your struggle, and they have not turned away from you. This message is not meant to condemn you. It is meant to rescue you. April 11th is not just another date on the calendar. It is a divine checkpoint, a sacred intersection between what was and what can still be. On this day, the spiritual realm draws near, offering you one final opportunity to correct your course. Archangel Michael, the protector and warrior of light, stands beside you with his sword of truth, ready to cut through confusion, fear, and deception. Feel the gravity of this moment, the weight you have been carrying, the restlessness in your spirit, and the unanswered questions that haunt your thoughts. All of them have led you here. Heaven has been trying to reach you through dreams, through sudden realizations, through repeated patterns that refuse to be ignored. Each sign was a whisper. But today, the whisper has become a command. This is your final warning. Do not dismiss it as mere imagination. The timing is too precise, the message too urgent, and the presence too powerful to ignore. There is a reason you are hearing these words right now. The mistake you made has placed you at a crossroads, but it has not sealed your fate. Redemption is still within reach, and divine mercy still surrounds you. Archangel Michael is not here to instill fear, but to awaken your courage. His presence is a shield against darkness and a beacon guiding you back to truth. He calls you to stand firm, to confront what you have avoided, and to reclaim the path that was destined for you. The heavens are extending their hand, but you must choose whether to take it. Time is sacred, and moments like this are rare. Ignoring this call could mean missing the very blessing meant to transform your life. But heeding it will unlock restoration, clarity, and peace beyond your imagination. The choice rests with you, and the window of opportunity is narrowing. Listen closely. Reflect deeply. What have you been postponing? What truth have you been afraid to face? What message have you repeatedly ignored, hoping it would fade away? This is your moment to acknowledge it, confront it, and correct it. You are not alone in this journey. Even now, Divine forces are aligning in your favor. Archangel Michael stands watch, guiding you with unwavering strength and heavenly authority. His command is not harsh, it is compassionate. It is the voice of protection, urging you to step away from harm and return to the light prepared for you. Let this day mark your awakening. Let April 11th become the turning point that reshapes your destiny. Release your doubts, lay down your fears, and open your heart to the truth that has been calling you all along. This is your final warning, but it is also your greatest opportunity. Will you listen, or will you turn away once more? The choice you make today will echo far beyond this moment. Chosen one, there comes a moment in every soul's journey when silence is no longer an option. This is that moment for you. The heavens are not whispering anymore. They are calling your name with unmistakable clarity. The warning delivered on April 11th carries a divine urgency, and Archangel Michael stands before you as a celestial commander, urging you to awaken from spiritual hesitation. What you once overlooked can no longer be ignored, but the consequences of delay are far greater than you realize. You have felt the signs. They appeared subtly at first, unexpected interruptions, delays that redirected your path, and an inner conviction that refused to fade. You may have dismissed them as coincidence, but deep within your spirit, you sensed a greater force at work. These were not random events. They were divine interventions, placed before you to guide, protect, and correct your course before it strayed too far from its destined path. There was a moment, a decision, an action, or perhaps a failure to act that altered your spiritual alignment. It seemed insignificant at the time, yet its ripple effect has followed you ever since. Perhaps it was driven by fear, pride, doubt, or distraction. Whatever the cause, the weight of that mistake has lingered, quietly shaping your present. But understand this clearly: heaven does not expose your errors to condemn you. It reveals them to redeem you. Archangel Michael, the protector of truth and the defender of light, now steps forward with divine authority. His presence is not meant to frighten you, but to awaken you. His sword symbolizes clarity, cutting through confusion and deception. His shield represents protection, guarding you against the forces that seek to lead you astray. Through this sacred message, he calls you to stand in truth, correct your course, and embrace the purpose that was always meant for you. You may wonder why this message has come now. Why April 11th? Because divine timing is never accidental. This date marks a spiritual turning point, a window of grace that allows you to correct what was once mishandled. It is a sacred opportunity to release regret and step into restoration. The mistake you made does not define you, but ignoring the chance to fix it could delay the blessings waiting ahead. Reflect on the moments when your intuition spoke clearly, urging you to choose differently. Think of the doors that closed unexpectedly and the paths that seemed blocked without explanation. At the time, you may have felt frustration or confusion. Yet now, you begin to see that those closed doors were acts of protection. They were divine interventions designed to prevent greater loss and guide you toward a higher purpose. The spiritual realm has been patient with you, sending reminders through dreams, recurring thoughts, and unexpected revelations. Each message was a thread of guidance, woven together to form a tapestry of truth. Yet hesitation caused you to overlook them. This is why Archangel Michael's command carries such urgency today. He is not merely suggesting a change. He is calling you to act before the opportunity slips away. Do not allow doubt to silence your obedience. Fear has a way of disguising itself as logic, convincing you to remain where you are rather than stepping into the unknown. But faith requires courage. It demands that you trust the divine voice guiding you, even when the path ahead is unclear. This is your moment to rise above uncertainty and embrace the correction that heaven is offering. Understand this deeply. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Every warning is an expression of divine love, and every correction is an invitation to align with your true destiny. Archangel Michael stands beside you, not as a judge, but as a protector, ensuring that you do not lose your way. His message is clear. What you repair today will secure your tomorrow. As this revelation settles into your spirit, allow it to ignite a transformation within you. Release the burden of denial. Accept the truth that has been placed before you. Choose humility over pride, faith over fear, and obedience over hesitation. The power to restore what was broken lies within your willingness to act. If this message resonates with your soul, take a moment to support this divine mission. Like this video to affirm your agreement with this prophetic word. Share it with someone who may be in need of guidance today. Comment with your thoughts and testimony, for your voice may inspire another soul to awaken. Subscribe to this channel to remain connected to messages of truth and encouragement. Hype this video so that it reaches those who are searching for light in moments of darkness, and join our membership to stand as a pillar in spreading God's word across the world. The urgency of this revelation is not meant to overwhelm you, but to awaken you. What unfolds next will reveal the deeper truth behind the mistake you made and the path toward redemption that heaven has prepared. Hold on to this message, for what is about to be revealed will touch your spirit in ways you never expected. Faithful soul, the moment of revelation has arrived, and your spirit is being summoned to embrace a truth that can no longer remain hidden. The urgency of April 11th continues to echo through the heavens, and Archangel Michael stands in radiant authority, illuminating the path before you. This is not a message of fear, but a call of divine correction. The mistake you made was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. Today, clarity descends upon your life like a beam of heavenly light, revealing what must be acknowledged, healed, and restored. There was a time when you felt certain about your direction. Your heart was filled with purpose, and your spirit burned with hope. Yet somewhere along the way, distraction clouded your vision. You trusted voices that led you astray or allowed doubt to silence your intuition. Perhaps you ignored a warning, postponed a sacred calling, or clung to a path that no longer aligned with your destiny. At first, the consequences seemed insignificant, but over time, a quiet unrest began to settle within your soul. You felt it in the form of unease that lingered without explanation. Doors that once opened effortlessly began to close. Opportunities slipped through your fingers, and confusion replaced clarity. These were not punishments. They were divine signals, gentle nudges meant to guide you back to your rightful path. Heaven was speaking, but you were not yet ready to listen. Now, that moment has come. Archangel Michael, the protector of truth and the defender of divine order, stands before you with unwavering strength. His presence is a reminder that you are never alone in your struggles. With his sword of light, he cuts through the shadows of deception and reveals the truth hidden beneath layers of doubt and denial. He does not expose your mistake to shame you, but to free you. His mission is not to condemn, but to restore, not to instill fear, but to ignite courage. The mistake you made may have stemmed from fear, impatience, or misplaced trust. You may have ignored a divine prompting, pursued a path that felt easier rather than righteous, or turned away from an opportunity that required faith. Perhaps you allowed the noise of the world to drown out the whisper of God's voice. Whatever the nature of your error, understand this: it does not define your destiny. It is merely a detour, not the end of your journey. April 11th stands as a sacred threshold, a moment of divine mercy extended to you. It is an opportunity to correct what was once overlooked and to realign with the purpose written upon your soul. Heaven, in its infinite compassion, has granted you this final chance not as a punishment but as a gift. It is a testament to the depth of God's love and the power of redemption. Listen closely to what your spirit has been trying to tell you. What decision have you been avoiding? What truth have you been reluctant to accept? What calling have you delayed out of fear or uncertainty? The answers lie within you, waiting to be acknowledged. This is your moment to confront them with honesty and humility. Archangel Michael's command is clear. Stop ignoring these messages. Release the burdens of regret and embrace the path of restoration. The past may have shaped you, but it does not have the authority to imprison you. Through repentance, faith, and obedience, you can reclaim the blessings that were meant for you from the beginning. You are not too late. Divine grace has preserved this moment for you. The very fact that you are hearing this message is proof that heaven has not given up on you. The door of redemption remains open, but it requires your willingness to step through it. Courage is your key, and faith is your guide. Imagine the peace that will fill your heart when you align once more with your true purpose. Picture the clarity that will replace confusion, the strength that will overcome fear, and the joy that will follow obedience. This transformation is not a distant dream. It is within your reach. Archangel Michael stands beside you, guarding your path and strengthening your resolve. Do not allow pride or hesitation to delay your response. The time for indecision has passed. Heaven has spoken, and your spirit has recognized the truth. Now is the moment to act, to correct your course, and to step into the destiny prepared for you. As you embrace this divine correction, know that forgiveness is already being extended to you. The weight you have carried is ready to be lifted, and the chains of regret are ready to be broken. All that remains is your willingness to accept this sacred invitation and walk forward in faith. Type "I receive divine correction" in the comments if this message resonates with your spirit. Lesson code 411 is now activated. As this revelation settles into your heart, understand that your support helps carry these prophetic messages to souls across the world. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not supporting a channel. You are helping God's light reach those wandering in darkness. Like a seed sown into fertile soil, your generosity becomes a harvest of hope, touching lives you may never meet. Scripture declares, "Give, and it will be given to you," Luke 6:38. And through your obedience, heaven opens doors of abundance and grace. If you feel the Spirit stirring within you, hear this sacred invitation. I am called to help spread God's word. Let this be your prophetic act of faith. As you sow, rivers of blessing will flow back into your life, and divine favor will follow your steps. Your offering becomes oil for the lamp that guides countless souls toward truth. Do not delay this holy opportunity. Click Super Thanks, join the membership, or use the PayPal link in the description. Step forward in faith and fulfill your divine assignment today. Anointed soul, as the echoes of this divine revelation settle into your heart, a sacred stirring begins to awaken within you. You can feel it, a quiet but undeniable shift in your spirit. This is not imagination, it is confirmation. Heaven is drawing near, and Archangel Michael stands as a vigilant guardian, ensuring that the truth revealed to you is not lost or ignored. The urgency of April 11th continues to resonate, reminding you that this is not merely a warning, but a turning point destined to reshape your life. There are moments when destiny whispers gently, and there are moments when it calls with unmistakable authority. This is the latter. You have been chosen to hear this message because your soul is ready to receive it. For too long, uncertainty and hesitation have clouded your path. You questioned your intuition, doubted your instincts, and ignored the subtle nudges guiding you toward correction. Yet even in your silence, divine mercy remains steadfast, waiting patiently for you to awaken. The mistake you made did not occur in isolation. It was influenced by circumstances, emotions, and pressures that seemed overwhelming at the time. Perhaps you trusted the wrong guidance, overlooked a sacred opportunity, or turned away from a responsibility meant to elevate your spiritual journey. You may have believed that time would erase the consequences, but deep within, you always sensed that something remained unfinished. That lingering feeling was not guilt alone. It was a divine call urging you to make things right. Archangel Michael now steps forward with unwavering authority, bringing clarity where confusion once prevailed. His presence is a symbol of divine protection and courage, reminding you that you are never alone in your pursuit of truth. His celestial sword represents discernment, cutting through deception and illuminating the path you are meant to follow. With every step you take toward correction, he stands beside you, strengthening your resolve and shielding you from doubt. You may have wondered why this realization has come now, why the weight of awareness feels so intense. The answer lies in divine timing. April 11th was not marked by chance. It was appointed as a moment of spiritual alignment. It is a day when heaven extends its hand, offering you the opportunity to restore what was disrupted and reclaim what was nearly lost. This sacred window of grace exists because you are valued, guided, and deeply loved by the Creator. Reflect on the patterns that have shaped your journey. Consider the repeated signs that appeared in your life, unexpected delays, unanswered prayers that later revealed hidden blessings, and moments of clarity that briefly pierced your uncertainty. Each experience carried a message. Each obstacle held a lesson. What once seemed like setbacks were, in truth, divine interventions guiding you toward wisdom and growth. Your spirit has always known the truth, even when your mind resisted it. That quiet voice within you, persistent yet gentle, was never meant to be ignored. It was a whisper of divine guidance, urging you to choose courage over comfort and obedience over fear. Now, that whisper has transformed into a clear and unmistakable call. You are being asked to confront what you once avoided and to embrace the transformation that awaits you. Do not allow regret to imprison you in the past. The purpose of this warning is not to remind you of your failure, but to reveal your potential for redemption. Mistakes are not final sentences. They are opportunities for awakening. When acknowledged with humility and corrected with faith, they become stepping stones toward spiritual elevation. Heaven does not define you by your errors, but by your willingness to rise above them. As you stand at this crossroads, understand that your response will shape your future. Choosing to ignore this message will prolong uncertainty, but embracing it will unlock clarity, restoration, and peace. The decision before you is not merely practical, it is spiritual. It calls for honesty, courage, and unwavering trust in divine guidance. Archangel Michael's presence assures you that protection surrounds you as you move forward. His strength empowers you to release fear, and his light illuminates the path ahead. Trust that every step you take in obedience aligns you with a higher purpose. You are not walking alone. You are being guided by a force greater than anything you have ever known. Take a moment now to reflect in stillness. Breathe deeply and listen to the voice within your soul. What is it urging you to correct? What truth is asking to be acknowledged? What step have you been delaying that now demands your attention? The answers may require courage, but they also hold the key to your freedom. This is your opportunity to reclaim what was meant for you. Let go of hesitation and embrace the path of restoration. Allow faith to replace doubt, and let divine wisdom guide your decisions. With each step forward, you draw closer to the destiny prepared for you since the beginning. Remember, this is not merely a warning, it is an invitation. It is a sacred chance to realign with your purpose and step into the life you were always meant to live. Trust in the guidance you have received, and move forward with confidence, knowing that heaven stands with you. The awakening has begun, and what unfolds next will reveal the deeper truth behind the correction you are being called to make. Blessed one, as the veil continues to lift, a deeper understanding begins to unfold within your spirit. You are no longer wandering in uncertainty. You are standing at the threshold of divine clarity. The sacred urgency of April 11th still resonates in the spiritual realm, and the presence of Archangel Michael remains steadfast beside you. His watchful gaze assures you that this is not merely a moment of reflection, but a decisive turning point designed to restore balance, purpose, and truth in your life. There comes a time when the soul can no longer ignore what it has always known. You may have tried to silence the inner conviction that stirred within you, convincing yourself that you had more time or that the consequences of your actions would fade. Yet the heart remembers what the mind attempts to forget. That quiet sense of unrest you carried was not punishment. It was divine guidance gently urging you to awaken. Heaven, in its boundless mercy, has allowed this moment to arrive so that you may correct your path before it is too late. A mistake you made was never meant to define you, but it was meant to teach you. Perhaps it was a decision driven by fear, a step taken in haste, or a calling you abandoned due to uncertainty. You may have trusted the wrong voice or overlooked a sacred opportunity placed before you. Whatever its nature, it left an imprint on your journey, creating a distance between you and the destiny prepared for you. But even in that distance, divine grace never withdrew from your life. Archangel Michael stands as a symbol of courage and truth, reminding you that redemption is always within reach. His celestial sword represents the power of discernment, cutting away deception and illuminating the path you are meant to follow. His shield signifies divine protection, assuring you that as you choose correction and obedience, you will not walk alone. Through his guidance, you are being called to confront what you once avoided and to step boldly into the light of truth. You may now recognize the patterns that have shaped your recent experiences. Repeated delays, unexpected interruptions, and moments of clarity that seemed to appear out of nowhere were not coincidences. They were divine interventions designed to redirect your steps. What once felt like setbacks were, in reality, acts of protection. Heaven was preserving you from greater loss while guiding you toward a higher purpose. Every closed door carried a hidden blessing, and every unanswered prayer concealed a greater plan. Reflect on the times when your intuition spoke clearly, urging you to pause or reconsider. You sensed a hesitation within your spirit, a gentle warning that something was not aligned with your truth. Yet the pressures of the world, the fear of uncertainty, or the desire for immediate comfort may have led you to ignore that sacred voice. Now, with renewed awareness, you are being offered a chance to listen once more. This moment is not about regret. It is about restoration. You are not being called to dwell on the past, but to learn from it and rise stronger. Evangelism is an expression of non-condemnation. It is heaven's way of guiding you back to the path that leads to fulfillment and peace. When you accept this truth, the burden of guilt begins to lift, replaced by the hope of redemption and renewal. The presence of Archangel Michael in this message signifies strength, protection, and divine order. He does not come to instill fear but to empower you with courage. He reminds you that the battle you face is not against circumstances alone, but against doubt, hesitation, and spiritual confusion. With his guidance, you are equipped to overcome these obstacles and reclaim your rightful place in the divine plan. As you stand at this sacred crossroads, remember that your response will determine the direction of your future. Choosing to ignore this message may prolong uncertainty, but embracing it will unlock clarity, restoration, and divine favor. The heavens have aligned this moment for your awakening, offering you a final opportunity to correct your course and realign with your purpose. Take a moment to search your heart. What truth have you been avoiding? What decision requires your courage? What step is God calling you to take? These questions are not meant to overwhelm you but to guide you toward transformation. The answers you seek already reside within your spirit, waiting to be acknowledged with honesty and faith. Trust that you are being led by divine wisdom. Every step taken in obedience brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. Release your fears and surrender your doubts, for they no longer serve your journey. Embrace the lessons of the past and allow them to shape your future with clarity and strength. Know this with certainty: you are not too late. The door of redemption remains open, and divine grace continues to surround you. The very fact that you are receiving this message is proof that heaven has not abandoned you. Instead, you are being guided, protected, and prepared for a new beginning. Stand firm in faith and move forward with courage. Archangel Michael walks beside you, shielding you from darkness and illuminating your path with truth. Let this moment mark the beginning of your restoration, a sacred step toward the destiny that has always awaited you. The revelation is deepening, and what unfolds next will uncover the hidden consequences of your past choice and the divine solution prepared for your renewal. Beloved seeker of truth, the sacred momentum of this message continues to unfold, drawing you deeper into divine awareness. Your spirit has not encountered these words by accident. Every revelation you have received is part of a heavenly design meant to awaken, guide, and restore you. April 11th stands as a spiritual landmark, and Archangel Michael remains steadfast at your side, ensuring that you recognize the gravity of this moment. His presence is not only a warning but also a promise of protection, urging you to embrace correction before the window of grace begins to close. There is a stirring within your soul that you can no longer deny. It is a quiet yet powerful conviction, reminding you that something must change. You have carried the weight of uncertainty, sensing that a decision made in the past has shaped your present reality. Perhaps you tried to justify it, believing it was necessary or unavoidable. Yet deep within, you always knew that it required reflection and correction. That inner unease was never meant to burden you. It was heaven's way of guiding you back toward alignment with your true purpose. Archangel Michael stands before you as a symbol of divine justice and unwavering courage. His sword of light cuts through illusions, revealing truths that can no longer remain hidden. He does not come to condemn you but to empower you. His command is clear: stop ignoring the messages that have been placed before you. Each sign, each nudge, and each moment of clarity has been an invitation to awaken. Now, that invitation has become a call to action. Consider the patterns that have unfolded in your life. How many times were you redirected when you attempted to follow a certain path? How often did opportunities slip away, only for you to later realize they were not meant for you? These occurrences were not coincidences. They were divine interventions, orchestrated to shield you from harm and steer you toward a higher calling. What once felt like frustration was, in truth, a form of protection guided by heavenly wisdom. You may recall moments when your heart urged you to pause, reconsider, or take a different direction. Yet fear and doubt sometimes overshadowed your intuition. The pressures of the world can cloud discernment, making it difficult to recognize divine guidance. However, heaven's voice is persistent, echoing through circumstances, dreams, and revelations. The very fact that you are hearing this message today is evidence that you are being called back into alignment with your destiny. This is not merely about correcting a mistake. It is about reclaiming your spiritual authority. You were created with purpose, and every step of your journey holds significance. The error you made did not disqualify you from your destiny. Instead, it served as a lesson, a refining fire shaping you into a stronger, wiser, and more faithful individual. Redemption is not reserved for the flawless. It is granted to those who are willing to acknowledge truth and embrace transformation. April 11th represents a divine checkpoint, a sacred moment at which heaven extends its hand once more. It is a reminder that time is precious and that opportunities for correction are gifts of grace. Archangel Michael's presence assures you that you are supported and protected as you take steps toward restoration. His strength becomes your strength, empowering you to release regret and move forward with courage. The path ahead requires honesty and faith. You are being asked to confront what you have avoided, to release what no longer serves you, and to realign with the purpose written upon your soul. This process may not be easy, but it is necessary. Growth often emerges from moments of discomfort, and transformation is born from the willingness to change. Trust that divine wisdom is guiding you, even when the journey feels uncertain. As you reflect on this revelation, allow gratitude to fill your heart. You have been granted another chance, an opportunity to correct what was once overlooked and to embrace the destiny prepared for you. Not everyone receives such clarity, yet you have been chosen to hear this message. This is not a coincidence. It is a calling. If this message resonates deeply with your spirit, take a moment to become part of this divine mission. Like this video as a sign of agreement with the truth being revealed. Share it with someone who may also need guidance and reassurance. Leave a comment expressing your faith and reflection, allowing your testimony to inspire others on their spiritual journeys. Subscribe to this channel to remain connected to prophetic messages that uplift and enlighten. Hype this video so that its light reaches souls across the world, and join our membership to stand as a pillar in spreading God's word to those in need of hope and direction. Remember, your engagement is more than an action. It is a declaration of faith. Each interaction helps carry this message to hearts that are searching for truth, just as you once were. Through your support, you become a vessel through which divine wisdom flows, touching lives in ways beyond your imagination. Take this moment to pause and reflect on everything you have heard. Archangel Michael's command is clear, and the choice now rests in your hands. What you are about to discover next will unveil a profound truth. One that will deepen your understanding and illuminate the path toward complete restoration. Hold this message close to your heart, for what is coming will transform the way you see your past, your present, and your divine future. Warrior of light, something is shifting around you even now. The atmosphere of your life is not the same as it was before you began receiving this message. What once felt heavy is starting to loosen. What once felt confusing is slowly becoming clear. This is not emotion alone. This is spiritual movement. April 11th was not just a warning. It was a line drawn in the unseen realm. And Archangel Michael is standing at that line, making sure you do not cross back into the patterns that nearly cost you your destiny. There is a deeper layer to the mistake you made, and now you are ready to see it. It was not only about the decision itself. It was about what that decision represented. It revealed where fear had more influence than faith. It exposed where comfort became more important than calling. It uncovered where distraction slowly replaced discipline. And the longer it remained unaddressed, the more it created spiritual delay. Delay is dangerous when ignored. Not because God withdraws love, but because purpose begins to stall. You may have felt that stagnation. Things were not completely falling apart, but they were not fully moving forward either. You were in between. Incomplete peace. Incomplete clarity. Incomplete breakthrough. But in between space is where many people settle. But you were never meant to live there. Archangel Michael does not fight halfway battles. When he intervenes, it is to bring decisive change. His presence in your life right now signals that the cycle of delay is ending. But here is the truth. Divine intervention still requires human obedience. Heaven can open the door, but you must choose to walk through it. You may be realizing now that the mistake was actually a misalignment. You stepped slightly outside of divine timing. You acted before confirmation. Or you waited when you were supposed to move. Either way, timing matters in the spiritual realm. And when timing is off, peace is disturbed. That disturbance you felt was not random anxiety. It was your spirit reacting to misalignment. Yet notice this, despite the mistake, you were preserved. You were protected from the worst outcomes. Things could have collapsed completely, but they did not. That was grace. That was divine shielding. That was Archangel Michael standing guard even when you were unaware of the battle being fought around you. Now the question is not whether you made a mistake. The question is whether you will fully correct it. Correction requires humility. It may require an apology. It may require stepping away from something you worked hard to build. It may require admitting you ignored a warning. It may require revisiting a calling you tried to bury. This is where courage becomes essential. And courage is exactly what Archangel Michael imparts. Feel the strengthening happening within you. The fear that once felt overwhelming is no longer paralyzing. The truth that once felt uncomfortable is now becoming liberating. This is growth. This is awakening. This is what happens when a soul chooses alignment over ego. There is also something else you must understand. When you correct a spiritual misalignment, acceleration follows. What felt delayed begins to move quickly. What felt blocked begins to open. What felt confusing becomes clear almost suddenly. Heaven responds rapidly to obedience. The moment you realign, momentum shifts. But do not rush ahead emotionally. Move intentionally. Pray intentionally. Decide intentionally. Archangel Michael's command was not to panic. It was to stop ignoring. Awareness comes first. Action follows with wisdom. Look back at the signs you once dismissed. They now make sense, do they not? The repeated message. The unexpected conversation. The internal resistance. The sudden condition. None of it was coincidence. It was a build-up to this exact moment. A final opportunity to fix what drifted out of place. You are not being threatened. You are being trusted. Trusted with revelation. Trusted with timing. Trusted with a chance to choose correctly this time. And here is what makes this moment powerful. You are no longer blind to it. Before, you acted without full awareness. Now you see clearly. That clarity removes excuses, but it also removes fear. Because when you see clearly, you can decide confidently. Archangel Michael stands not as a distant figure, but as a present protector. His role is not to control your will, but to guard your destiny. When you step into obedience, you step into protection. When you align with truth, you align with strength. This is where transformation becomes irreversible. The mistake no longer has power over you once you correct it. The delay no longer defines you once you move forward. The warning no longer feels heavy once you respond with action. and something remarkable begins to happen. Peace returns. Not fragile peace, not temporary relief, but steady, grounded peace that confirms you are back in alignment. Do you feel it beginning? The next layer of revelation will uncover what shifts in your life once you fully act on this correction. Because obedience does not just fix the past, it unlocks the future. Steadfast soul, you are now standing at the edge of manifestation. Everything that has been revealed to you was not only about correction, it was about preparation. The warning of April 11th was never meant to leave you in fear. It was meant to reposition you for acceleration. Archangel Michael has not been speaking to you simply to expose a mistake. He has been clearing spiritual interference so that what belongs to you can finally reach you without obstruction. There is something powerful you must understand at this stage. When divine correction is accepted, spiritual authority increases. The moment you choose alignment over denial, something shifts in the unseen realm. What once resisted you begins to lose its grip. What once confused you begins to unravel. And what once delayed you begins to move. The mistake you made created a small breach in your spiritual focus. It did not destroy you, but it distracted you. And distraction is subtle. It does not look like rebellion. It looks like busyness. It looks like compromise. It looks like convincing yourself that something is good enough when it was never God's best. That subtle shift slowly drained your clarity. But now clarity is returning. Archangel Michael's presence symbolizes more than warning. It symbolizes restoration of order. When he steps in, chaos must retreat. When he commands attention, deception must scatter. And when he stands guard over your life, forces that once operated unnoticed are forced into retreat. You may begin to notice that certain conversations are shifting. Certain relationships feel different. Certain desires no longer carry the same appeal. This is not loss. This is refinement. When you realign with purpose, what is not aligned begins to fade naturally. There is no need for dramatic endings. Divine separation happens peacefully when you are walking in truth. The correction you are making is creating spiritual momentum. And momentum attracts opportunity. Doors that once seemed permanently closed may reopen in unexpected ways. Or new doors may appear entirely. This is because obedience creates access. Heaven responds to alignment with acceleration. But here is the key. Do not return to the mindset that caused the delay. The enemy of destiny is not always destruction. Sometimes it is repetition. Repeating the same pattern. Repeating the same compromise. Repeating the same hesitation. Archangel Michael's final warning was not simply about one mistake. It was about breaking a cycle. Cycles end when awareness meets action. You are no longer unaware. Now you must act consistently. Not emotionally. Not impulsively. But intentionally. You may feel a mixture of relief and intensity right now. Relief because clarity has come. Intensity because responsibility follows clarity. When you know better, you are called to live better. And that calling is not heavy. It is empowering. There is also something unfolding beneath the surface that you cannot yet see. Divine rearrangement. Certain outcomes were paused because you were slightly out of alignment. And now that you are correcting your course, those paused blessings are being reactivated. Imagine a river that was partially blocked by debris. The water was still flowing, but not fully. Once the blockage is removed, the current strengthens immediately. That is what is happening in your life. The blockage was not permanent. It was correctable, and you are correcting it. Archangel Michael's command was urgent because timing matters. There are seasons in life when delay is permitted. And there are seasons when delay becomes loss. April 11th marked the edge of that line for you. But you responded. And because you responded, loss has been prevented. Feel the gratitude in that. You were warned, but you were also preserved. Now step fully into this new alignment. Speak differently. Decide differently. Pray differently. Act differently. The shift must be complete. Partial obedience produces partial breakthrough. Full obedience produces undeniable transformation. As this truth settles into you, seal it with declaration. Type "I walk in alignment" in the comments if your spirit receives this shift. Blessing code 811 is now activated. Now hear this clearly as the message flows forward. The light that corrected you must now reach others. When you sow into this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are not funding content. You are fueling revelation. You are helping messages like this intercept souls at their breaking point before delay becomes destruction. Scripture declares, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy." And as you release your seed, heaven multiplies impact beyond what your eyes can measure. If you feel that stirring inside, say within yourself, "I am called to be a vessel of light." This is your moment of obedience beyond listening. Every offering becomes oil in the lamp that keeps this word burning across nations. Your generosity becomes a river removing spiritual blockages from lives you will never physically meet. Do not hesitate in this holy prompting. Click Super Thanks. Step into membership. Use the PayPal link in the description and release your seed. As you give, may acceleration enter your home. As you sow, may restoration overtake your household. Move now, and let your obedience echo in eternity. The unfolding is not finished. What comes next will reveal the tangible evidence of your alignment and the visible shift that follows spiritual obedience. Awakened heart, what you are about to understand now is the visible side of what has already shifted in the invisible. Spiritual alignment never remains hidden forever. When you correct your course in the unseen realm, the physical realm begins to respond. You may not have noticed it immediately, but subtle confirmations are already appearing around you. Conversations feel lighter. Decisions feel clearer. Anxiety that once lingered without explanation is beginning to dissolve. This is not coincidence. This is evidence. April 11th marked a decisive spiritual line, and because you chose awareness over denial, you crossed into restoration instead of regret. Archangel Michael did not issue a final warning to intimidate you. He did it to preserve your future. And now preservation is turning into progress. There is something powerful about obedience that many people misunderstand. They think obedience is restrictive. In reality, obedience unlocks acceleration. The reason things felt stalled before was not because you were incapable. It was because you were slightly misaligned. Even a small shift in direction can change the final destination. And heaven loves you too much to let you drift unnoticed. The mistake you made created spiritual static. Static does not destroy a signal, but it distorts it. Your discernment became slightly blurred. Your confidence weakened. Your prayers felt less effective. Not because God withdrew, but because interference increased. The longer misalignment continues, the louder the static becomes. But once you corrected it, the signal cleared. Now you may begin to notice sharper intuition, stronger discernment, a renewed sense of conviction. That is clarity returning. That is spiritual authority being restored. Archangel Michael's role in this was not symbolic alone. His intervention represented divine enforcement. What tried to quietly disrupt your focus no longer has the same access. However, this next phase requires vigilance. When a cycle breaks, there is often one last attempt to pull you back into it. Old thoughts may resurface. Old temptations may whisper. Old fears may try to regain influence. This is not a sign that nothing changed. It is a sign that the change is real enough to threaten what once held you. Do not be surprised by resistance. Expect it, but do not entertain it. The power you have now is awareness. Before, you were drifting unconsciously. Now you are alert, and awareness is armor. When you recognize a pattern early, you can shut it down before it regains momentum. That is growth. That is maturity. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian, but guardianship does not remove responsibility. It reinforces it. You are being strengthened, not controlled. You are being guided, not forced. And your will still matters. This is where discipline becomes your ally. Alignment is not a one-time emotional decision. It is a daily commitment. It is choosing truth when it is inconvenient. It is choosing prayer when distraction calls. It is choosing patience when impulse pushes. The mistake you made earlier was rooted in a moment of weakened discipline. That weakness has now been exposed and corrected, but consistency will ensure it does not return. There is also something else unfolding that you may not yet see fully. The very area where you stumbled will become the area where you stand strongest. That is how redemption works. Your greatest vulnerability can become your greatest authority once healed. The place where you once hesitated will become the place where you now speak boldly. This is why the warning was urgent. Because what is ahead of you requires strength. It requires clarity. It requires maturity. And you could not carry the next level while still entangled in the previous misalignment. You were not being delayed to be denied. You were being refined to be trusted. Feel the difference in your spirit now compared to when this message first began. There is less confusion, less defensiveness, less fear, and more resolve, more steadiness, more confidence. That is transformation in motion. Do not rush ahead impatiently trying to make up for lost time. Restoration does not require panic. It requires faithfulness. Stay consistent in the small corrections. The larger shifts will follow naturally. You may also notice that certain people respond differently to you now. Some will feel inspired. Others may feel uncomfortable. When you change, your dynamics change. That is normal. Not everyone benefits from your alignment. Some only benefited from your confusion. Let that realization bring clarity, not bitterness. Archangel Michael's presence around you symbolizes fortified boundaries. What once crossed into your peace easily will now encounter resistance. You are learning to guard your mind, your time, your focus, and your obedience. That guarding is not isolation. It is stewardship. And stewardship leads to increase. What comes next will not be subtle. The shift will begin to show in measurable ways. Opportunities, open doors, unexpected confirmations. You will recognize them because they will come with peace, not pressure. Stay steady. The next revelation will uncover how this correction impacts not just your present, but your long-term destiny. Because this was never just about fixing a mistake. It was about securing your future. Faithful one, you are now stepping into the phase where correction turns into confirmation. What was once a warning is becoming a witness. What was once urgent is now unfolding with precision. April 11th did not simply mark a spiritual alert. It marked a spiritual realignment that is already beginning to shape your future. Archangel Michael's command was not about fear of loss. It was about protection of destiny. And now, destiny is responding. There are shifts happening that you may only recognize if you pause and truly observe. The heaviness that once clouded your decisions has lifted. The internal conflict that kept you second-guessing yourself has quieted. This is not random emotional relief. This is spiritual order being restored. When alignment is corrected, peace returns as evidence. You may notice that opportunities are appearing again, but this time they feel different. They feel cleaner, less forced, less chaotic. Before, when you were slightly misaligned, opportunities came with pressure. You felt right. You felt the need to prove something. You felt anxious about missing out. That urgency was not divine acceleration. It was insecurity disguised as opportunity. And now, what comes will carry calm confidence. Archangel Michael's presence over your life represents strategic protection. Not everything that glitters is meant for you. Not every open door is aligned with purpose. And because you responded to the warning, your discernment has sharpened. You will no longer chase what drains you. You will recognize what sustains you. There is also something deeper happening beneath the surface. The spiritual authority you almost forfeited is being restored. When you ignored earlier messages, your confidence in hearing divine guidance weakened. You questioned your own clarity. You hesitated more often. But now, because you listened, your spiritual senses are becoming refined again. That refinement matters. You are entering a season where decisions carry greater weight. The next chapter of your life requires maturity that you did not fully have before this correction. That is not an insult. It is growth. The mistake exposed where development was needed. And instead of hiding from it, you faced it. This is how leaders are formed. This is how strong foundations are built. Not by avoiding error, but by responding to it correctly. However, remain alert. When restoration begins, distraction often attempts to return in subtle ways. It may not look like the same mistake. It may look like overconfidence. It may look like thinking you no longer need guidance. But the same humility that corrected you must now sustain you. Stay anchored in discipline. Stay anchored in prayer. Stay anchored in intentional choices. The strength you are building now will support blessings you cannot yet see fully. You may also begin to experience external validation. People may affirm you unexpectedly. Doors may open without excessive striving. Conversations may align in your favor. Do not let this inflate ego. Let it increase gratitude. The reason these things are shifting is not because you became perfect. It is because you became obedient. Archangel Michael's role in this story is not ending. Protection continues beyond the warning. Divine guardianship remains active when you remain aligned. But remember, protection does not remove participation. You still choose daily. This is where consistency becomes powerful. Consistency and small obedience leads to undeniable transformation over time. Do not underestimate simple faithfulness. It builds spiritual momentum quietly but effectively. The person you are becoming now will not struggle with the same confusion that once delayed you. And here's something important. Your breakthrough is not only personal. Others are watching your shift. Some will not admit it, but they see the steadiness replacing instability. They see clarity replacing doubt. Your correction is becoming a testimony. If this message has strengthened you, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video as a declaration that you choose alignment. Share it so someone else on the edge of delay can receive their warning before it becomes loss. Comment with your commitment to walk differently moving forward. Subscribe to stay connected to messages that guard and guide your spirit. Hype this word so it reaches those who are drifting without realizing it. And if you are called to stand deeper in this mission, join the membership and become part of the foundation that carries these messages forward. There is a reason you are still here listening. It is because what is unfolding is not ordinary encouragement. It is strategic timing. And what is about to be revealed next will show you how this correction secures something long-term, something generational, something bigger than a single decision. Hold steady. The final layer of this revelation will tie everything together and show you why April 11th had to be urgent and why your obedience is preserved more than you realize. Courageous spirit, you are now close enough to the full picture to understand why the urgency was necessary. What seemed like a single mistake was connected to something much larger than you first realize. April 11th was not simply about correcting behavior. It was about protecting legacy. It was about preventing a ripple effect that could have extended far beyond your present moment. Archangel Michael did not intervene because the issue was small. He intervened because the future attached to you is significant. When destiny carries weight, warnings carry urgency. The decision you always normalized had the potential to subtly reshape your direction over time. Not instantly, not dramatically, but gradually. And gradual drift is often more dangerous than sudden collapse because it feels manageable. You would have adjusted to it. You would have rationalized it. You would have built around it. And years later, you might have wondered why certain promises never fully manifested. Heaven saw that path forming before you did. That is why the warning came strongly. That is why the conviction intensified. That is why peace was disturbed. It was not punishment. It was interception. Archangel Michael's presence signifies divine interception. When something threatens purpose quietly, intervention must be decisive. You were approaching a threshold where delay would have turned into long-term detour. But because you listened, the detour has been avoided. Now you can see more clearly why the resistance felt so strong earlier. There are seasons when your choices affect only you. And there are seasons when your choices affect those connected to you. This was the second kind. Your obedience has protected more than your personal peace. It has protected future relationships, future influence, future stability, future opportunities that require the version of you that is aligned, not distracted. This is why the correction felt intense. The stakes were higher than you understood. Take a moment and consider how different your internal state feels now compared to when the warning first came. There is solidity. There is groundedness. There is awareness that stability will carry into every area of your life. Decision-making will become sharper. Boundaries will become clearer. Time will be stewarded more wisely. The mistake you corrected will not repeat easily because you now understand its root. It was not about the external action alone. It was about subtle compromise in priority. Something else had quietly taken first place in your focus. And when focus shifts, alignment follows. But now focus has been restored. Archangel Michael's role in this chapter was not only protective, it was preparatory. You are stepping into a season where clarity will be required quickly, where discernment must operate without confusion, where leadership, whether visible or invisible, will demand steadiness. If you had carried unresolved misalignment into that season, pressure would have exposed weakness. Instead, correction has strengthened you beforehand. This is mercy. Many people only realize their mistake when consequences are irreversible. You were warned before permanence set in. That is divine favor. However, do not allow relief to create complacency. Protection continues when vigilance continues. Stay sensitive to inner conviction. Stay attentive to subtle nudges. The spiritual sensitivity you regain must be maintained intentionally. You will also notice that certain temptations or distractions that once seemed appealing now feel empty. That is transformation. When alignment shifts internally, external attractions lose power. You are no longer chasing what once oppressed you. You are pursuing what sustains you. There is also an increase in responsibility coming, not as burden but as expansion. When heaven sees that you can respond correctly to correction, it entrusts you with more influence, more opportunity, more impact. That expansion requires maturity, and maturity was forged through this warning. Archangel Michael's command was clear. Stop ignoring these messages. You obeyed. And now the messages will shift from warning to direction. Instead of alerting you about misalignment, guidance will begin highlighting advancement. You may begin to sense new ideas forming, new strategies emerging, new confidence building. Do not rush them. Let them develop steadily. What grows in alignment grows sustainably. The final revelation is approaching. It will seal this entire journey with understanding, gratitude, and commissioning. Because this was never only about avoiding a mistake. It was about stepping into a calling with clarity that cannot be shaken. Prepare your heart. What comes next will not only affirm what has shifted, it will activate what has been preserved. Chosen vessel, this is the moment where everything connects. The warning, the conviction, the correction, the clarity, all of it was leading here. April 11th was never just a date. It was a divine interruption designed to preserve your assignment. What felt urgent was urgent. What felt intense was intentional. And what felt like pressure was actually protection. Now you can see it. If you had ignored the message, the drift would have continued quietly. You would have adapted to misalignment. You would have adjusted to spiritual static. You would have normalized delay. And over time, you might have forgotten what true clarity even felt like. But heaven refused to let you settle beneath your calling. Archangel Michael's command was not dramatic without reason. It was decisive because your future required decisiveness. The mistake you corrected was not random. It was a fork in the road. One path led to slow erosion of purpose. The other led to sharpened identity and accelerated destiny. You chose correction. And because you chose correction, something irreversible has happened in the spirit. The cycle has been broken. The delay had been cut off. The distraction has lost authority. The subtle compromise had been exposed and removed. What stands before you now is not fragile alignment. It is fortified alignment. You are stronger than you were before the warning. Not because you avoided error, but because you responded to it. That response has strengthened your discernment. It has deepened your humility. It has stabilized your obedience. There is a different weight on your decisions now. A healthy weight. A mature awareness that your choices ripple beyond the present moment. You no longer act casually with what carries destiny. This is growth. Archangel Michael remains positioned as guardian, but the tone has shifted. The sword that once signaled urgency now signals readiness. The shield that once guarded you from loss now guards what has been secured. You will begin to see tangible evidence of this preservation. Opportunities that fit. Relationships that align. Doors that open without strain. You will recognize them not by excitement alone, but by peace. True alignment carries peace that does not require convincing. The urgency of April 11th will one day feel like a gift you are grateful for. What once felt like pressure will feel like mercy. What once felt like confrontation will feel like protection. Remember this always. Warnings are not rejection. They are redirection. You were redirected before damage became permanent. Now the final layer of this message is activation. You are not only preserved for yourself, you are preserved for impact. There are people connected to your obedience who will never know how close you came to drifting. There are outcomes that will unfold smoothly because you corrected course in time. There are future testimonies that will trace back to this moment of decision. Do not return to passive living. Do not drift back into unconscious compromise. Live alert. Live aligned. Live intentional. Let April 11th remain a spiritual marker in your memory. The day you stopped ignoring the messages. The day you responded instead of resisted. The day you chose alignment over comfort. Seal this transformation with declaration. Type "I am fully aligned" in the comments if you receive this final activation. Blessing code 1212 is now released over your life. Now hear this as the Spirit flows into commissioning. What preserved you must now reach others. There are souls standing at their own April 11th moment, on the edge of drift, waiting for a warning that could save their future. When you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not supporting a platform. You are sustaining interception. You are placing oil in the lamp that shines into darkened paths before delay becomes destruction. The word declares, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. And this is not ancient text alone. It is God speaking directly to you now. As you release your seed, heaven releases acceleration. As you sow into this mission, protection multiplies over your household. Say within yourself, I will be a guardian of light for others. Let your giving be prophetic obedience, not casual generosity. Do not hesitate in this sacred moment. Click super thanks. Step into membership. Use the PayPal link and sow deliberately. As you move, may open heavens respond. As you give, may alignment remain anchored in your life. Act now, and let your obedience echo beyond what you can see. The warning has become wisdom. The correction has become commissioning. And your destiny stands secured.